Okay, 1941 Ford update. It's been a while. Got some paint on. About ready to paint the bottom body color. This is the color I'm going to go with. It's what my potential customer wants. It's actually a fire mist red, but it's darker than I would have preferred. I'm not a real fan of that color. But this was our paint sample. Went ahead and did a whole fender just to make sure he was sure. So that fender is ready to go on. The other fender is ready. Now on the inside of these fenders, I have put bed liner after I epoxied them. So they're totally prepped where there shouldn't be any issues from now on. Doors. This is the last door, so both doors are ready. Here's my last spray out last night. This is the back roll pan. I had to take it off the rotisserie to get to it. Here's what we ended up with color-wise. I don't know if you can tell anything about it. It looks a whole lot different outside in the sun when I carried that fender out. So it is darker inside like most colors. Laid down really slick. I'm talking there's no dirt. Probably won't need to buff the back end of this at all. As you can see, jammed it a little bit inside the trunk. I'll finish the rest when I paint the whole car. Next step is back on the rotisserie. In other words, put this back on this. Get the bottom sanded. It's already prepped and ready. So we just need to wet sand it, shoot it body color. The whole car, top, bottom, inside and out, is all going to be this color. I'll paint the doors off. They'll be hanging up. Do my jams that way. I don't have any lines, and no, I don't like paint lines. That's one of my pet peeves. Of course, like I said, all this is ready. Insides is done. Front cowl section's done. Plugged the vent hole, slicked it, put a big piece of metal in there and took care of that problem. Recessed the cowl, hand built that with the motor he's putting in it and the setback we need. This is what it took. So, roof is done. That's why I got a sheet on it. I'm old school, throw a sheet on it till I get ready. I'm not wasting paper. All I gotta do is wet sand the roof. Now, I know a lot of people aren't a fan, but I'm gonna tell you now, I've been using NASON paint for years. And as long as you put a good base down, in other words, it's like building a house. The foundation's the key. This shit will last forever. This car has never been buffed. I painted it 18 years ago, and it's as slick as it was the day I painted it. Now, grant you at the time, the body was rough. The guy I was building it for, he just wanted a paint job. So that's what he got. 18 years later, here's what it looks like. This is NASON. From the ground up is NASON. It's base coat, clear coat, urethane, all urethane, primers, urethane clears, urethane, everything. Same thing I'm going to do to this car. For those haters that don't like DuPont NASON, look the other way. Now, as you can see, I've tried a bunch of stuff. Here's the key. This U-pole primer, I don't care what they say, that's a high build. And it does the job. You can thin that just like sealer, and it goes on slick as glass. Now, yeah, it does go on rough if you're using it for a high build, but which ones don't? I mean, DA it, wet sand it, and it's slick as glass. I use it as my top base. I don't seal my cars. Number one, it's not necessary if you got the base prepped right. And secondly, it's just like this car here. I knew it was going to be dark, so I used a light base to make the paint just a hue lighter. If I'd have used a dark sealer on it, it wouldn't have been that light. It'd have been even darker. This is the U-Pole primer right here. You can sand that as slick as glass. In other words, these quarters, they're slick. There's no orange peel, there's no pinholing, there's nothing. It's all in the prep, people. Of course, you guys know this. But I have decided I will paint next week the bottom of the car and the cowl section. Front firewall, in other words. Let it cure. Then I'll paint the body with the doors and the trunk lid all at once. Front end I'll do last. Because I had all my paint mixed at one time. And by the way, speaking, here it is. As you see, all NASON. Every bit of it. Now I've got enough paint to put together to where it's all going to match. It's not going to be, I've never had that issue anyway. Not saying I know what I'm doing. I'm just saying I've been lucky. As long as I'm not mixing out of another can, I'll be fine. Here's, I went and got another gallon of primer. Of course, I got my 5-gallon cleanup thinner, lacquer thinner, just for cleaning my gun. But as far as product-wise, if you prep this stuff exactly like the directions say, and trust me, people, it's not all the same. Don't let anybody tell you. A paint rep will tell you it's not. Everybody's paint. There's a little bit of different prep on each one. Close to being the same, but enough difference to where you can tell a difference. Just follow the directions. Simple. And like I say, this car here, 18-year paint job. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, it's been treated rough. It's a parts runner. As the old saying goes, rode hard and put up wet. That's this car. It's not had an easy life. But as you can see, I don't have a big shop. I mean, it's a hobby for me. I just happened, this guy, I'm building this car for myself, and this guy walks in and says, I want to buy that car. So he threw a crazy number at me, and it's going to be his. I got my deposit, whether it's gone or not, I got a deposit on it. So I'm good. Of course, he is a good customer. I do a lot of little stuff for him. But, for instance, this is his spare tire bracket that I've had to repair that goes on his landscaping trailer. I'm not going to charge him for it. Got to take care of your customers. But as you can see, my shop's not that big. I mean, basically a man cave, you know. I've been doing this since I was 13 years old. Hell, I'm 67 years old now. Recently retired. I've been on this car. Now here's just some food for thought. Working a full-time job. This car, I've been on it for 4.5 years. But I worked every day. So I was hitting it a Saturday here and a Saturday there. I recently retired this year. Now I'm getting some shit done. It'll be through by winter time. That car will be back on the frame. By the way, the frame is done, completely redone, ready to roll. It's painted a bright, heavy metallic silver. It was the first thing I did on this car, because when we pulled this car out of the shed, as they say, it was basically no rot, surface rust on it. I fixed 2 little holes in it. That was it, and that's the truth. I mean, those are rare, especially for a 41 Ford Coupe. Not my favorite car. Got an ugly ass front end on it, but solid car. It's gonna make somebody a nice car. It'll get a crate engine put in it. It'll have power windows, AC. And that's about all the amenities it'll have. It'll have a nice tan leather interior. So that's where I stand. That's my latest update. I hope y'all enjoy. Like I say, I just do it now for a hobby. But here it is. Hell, I don't even know what today is. 8/17/23. So you guys have a good week and weekend coming up. Take care.